Fine. So in the last session we completed O2C cycle. In today's session we'll see the fusion tax, which is nothing but EBT in EBS. The e-business tax which we have in EBS, the same here we are calling as fusion tax. Okay, we'll see what are the basic setups required, and we'll go and do certain validation. We'll check the validation and we'll run the relevant job which will validate the geography's address, and we'll just create the address. Okay, we'll create the address, and we'll just do the location assignment to the supplier, and we'll test the tax calculation in any one of the application. We'll just go with the AP. Okay, so we'll complete these basic setups which are required. Same like when I talk about R to R flow, resume to rate flow, in EBS, what are the setups we have to execute? The same setups we have to complete here also. Okay, we'll go with the setups. So go to our FSM. These setups you don't need to do from the project. Like in EBS or Fusion, these are the common. So by using the Fusion tax or tax manager application, we can just complete the configuration for multiple definitions. Okay, so first task is create tax regime. Say manage tax regime. So manage tax regimes. Click on create. So we can give the name as ERP Cloud tax regime or US tax regime. You can give. Regime level, okay, we can go with the country. The country name, select as US. And start date, say today's date. And the rest of information here, it's a optional. So everything's fine. Here party name, we can select our BU name. You can go with the BU or LE also. So ERP Cloud. We'll select our business unit. So say configuration for tax and rules, say common configuration, and here you can provide effective start date, say today's date. Fine, done. So all these controls and defaults you can set depending on the requirement. Okay, these defaults we can accept, then say save and close. So we create a tax regime. Now we'll create the tax. So manage taxes. Okay, just click on create. So tax regime name is ERP Cloud. So configuration owner, global configuration owner, tax name, say ERP, VAT, you can write ERP Cloud VAT, tax type, so it's VAT. The start date system is defaulting from tax resume. Okay, tax information here you can specify geography type. So what we'll do is this tax should be calculated at state level. Okay, we'll set state level, select state, and parent geography type. For the state, parent should be here country, and which country that we can specify here, US. Select, say OK. Okay, the rest of information is defaulting. All the details are defaulting from the tax regime. Fine. So under controls and defaults, so what are the controls we require? You may set here. So allow tax rounding, override, and other information you can set if you think that is required. Okay, just we're done with this. Now go to tax rule defaults. Here the defaults you can set. So tax applicability you can say applicable. Tax registration. Say ship to, use bill to if ship to is not available. Here place of supply also you can set ship to. Okay, based on the ship to location, just we want to calculate the tax. So now we have to define the jurisdiction, tax status, and the rate. First we'll create the tax jurisdiction for this tax. So just select tax jurisdiction, then click on create detail default. Yeah, just before that let's save whatever we created as a tax. Okay, so we are creating this tax which would be specific to state. Okay, state level we are creating. So we will go and create the jurisdiction also accordingly. Select tax jurisdiction here and then click on create default. And you can provide here name as ERP Cloud jurisdiction, or you may write the name. The geography type is state. The geography name, so we'll select any one of the state name. So we will select California. validation, nothing is required. That's all. Then say save and close. We create a tax jurisdiction that we selected at state level. The state name is California. Now we'll create the tax status. Select tax status, then click on create default. We can give the name as ERP Cloud VAT standard. Then say save and close. And tax rate. Select tax rate, then say create default. Select tax status and provide the tax rate code. So here pick cloud VAT, so at the rate of 15%. Okay, so this tax should be applicable in which process? You can select procure to pay, just remove this order to cash and for expenses, and rate percentage, say 15%, and effective start date is today date. Done. And here we can provide the tax accounts. We'll just give mandatory account here, which is required. Select tax accounts and click on create. Select our primary ledger. Okay, if you want to set up this BU specific, you can do, or else you can keep it as a ledger level only. So anyway, we have our business unit. Select it. Now provide this account as a mandatory, that is tax liability account. Just click on search. Select company. Select department. Account. Search for the term called as tax. So withholding. We can use this account. State sales and use tax payable. Done. Say save and close. Okay, so we completed these setups. Okay, now we'll go on to setup configuration owner tax option. Configuration owner tax options. So manage configuration owner tax options. Just click on create. So configuration owner, ERP cloud. Okay, we can select any level. So I'm selecting business unit. So event class, so payables invoice, standard invoice payables, start date today, and here default tax options you may set the preferences how it should happen. Okay, ship to party side, ship to party, ship to all these specification. I'm just selecting ship to party site. Okay, anyway, these are not mandatory, will be associating with the supplier, we'll see that. And resume determination set. So since it's going to be state level, we are creating the tax. Okay, you can select determination, determine application tax ratio. Okay, so you can just select this as a determination set. Just dollar optional, then say save and close. Done. Fine. So we completed these setups. Now what we have to do is, so we have to go and verify whether the tax validation is enabled for US or not. So we have to go to task called as manage geographies. Go to manage geographies and verify tax validation is enabled or not for US. So manage geographies. Search for US. And go to validation defined. And here just make sure that here this geography validation is selected, enabled for the different formats, address formats. United States postal address format, and primarily this is the second one is required for us. United States tax address format. Even for no style format also make sure that that is enabled. Primarily we require for this second one. It's enabled. Okay, done. This is what we have to verify. So we're done with that. Okay, now we have to run the validate geographies addresses. Okay, what are the information we have in the manage geographies that should sync and that should be available for a tax calculation also. For that purpose we have to run this job. So we'll go on to run it from scheduled processes. schedule process. Okay, so this is the job name. Validate geographies of addresses against master geographies. Select and say okay, and just you can click on okay. Here we have to provide the relevant parameters. So based on which parameters we want to run it. Okay, so location table name. Here you can give per addresses underscore f, and run type you can give as a all, and usage code you can specify as a tax. So provide minimum these parameters. Even you see here as optional, still you have to provide, otherwise this won't run. Okay, just provide these parameters and submit. Say okay. Fine. Anyway, system will complete this. So now what we'll do is we'll go and create one location. That location will assign to supplier. So we created here a geography as a California. For California, whenever you just have a invoice, when you create invoice, within that invoice, if system goes and identifies ship to location is California, then system has to calculate the tax. To implement that scenario, what we'll do is we'll create a location by selecting state as a California. So that location, okay, which is belongs to California, that will assign to our supplier. Okay, supplier level, exactly in the supplier site assignments, will assign as a ship to location. With that, supplier will create the invoice, then system automatically takes ship to location as a California. So that's how system will, that invoice will get eligibility to calculate the tax. We'll see that. Okay, so create location. So go to FSM, task name is manage locations. Just click on create. We'll give the name as ERP California location. California address, then go to zip code. Okay. Do one thing. Search. And here you can select any one of the zip code belongs to California. Let me go with advanced search.
Hi, Lakshman. This is Iqbal. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, we got it.
Lakshman, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Please.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Actually, I have. So, I have a question. When we are getting this bad tax, so are you going to cover the recoverable or non-recoverable tax also that scenario, or
No, see, the primarily the basic configuration and the tax calculation, the payables. That's what we are going to see. If you want to calculate recoverable, the same you can enable at resume level. The same will get defaulted to tax, and you can create the recoverable rate. Then automatically system will calculate. That we are not touching here. Just other than
oh,
4 5 modules, whatever we are touching, just we are going with the basic, especially tax and rate.
and you're not going to cover the withholding tax also that? I don't know.
Withholding tax we already completed.
Okay.
And fine. See, I'll be sharing that student guide. Within that, you can find that recoverable related configuration, how it works also. Okay, the configuration, everything you can see if you want to explore on that. Fine.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So we created location. Just save it. You may click on review to go through the same information what we provided as a part of location definition. Finally, say submit. Done. I created location also. Now what we'll do is that location will assign to our supplier. Go to supplier definition. Under procurement, go to suppliers. Manage suppliers. So find our supplier. Supplier name is ERP Cloud US Supplier. Just click on edit. Go to sites. Just click on edit. Go to site assignments. Here provide the same location as a ship to location. So this is the location we created, right? ERPCA California location. Select it. Now when we create the invoice against this supplier, automatically system will default this location as a ship to location. So system will derive the tax whatever we defined accordingly. So save and close. Done. So we completed all the setups. Before we go and create the standard invoice in AP, just we'll go to the tax simulator. There will verify, okay, the tax is going to be calculated or not. Once we see tax calculation is happening, we can enable the tax applicability, and we'll do that. So before that, to test the tax in the tax simulator, we'll just give the provision at tax level. So manage taxes. So tax name is ERP Cloud VAT, right? Just select and click on edit. So just enable it for tax simulation, okay, so that we can simulate, we can test it before you go and perform actual tax related transaction where tax would be applicable. You can just go and do simulate it, you can test it. Enable this so that this definition would be available for tax simulation purpose in tax simulator. Search for simulator. Okay, task name is manage simulator transactions. Say create. So document event class, we can select purchase invoice. Select our legal entity. Okay, select our business unit. Enter any one of the document number. Select our supplier. Amount say $10,000. Provide ship to location. Now just you can just click on save. And click on view tax lines. Now system has to calculate the tax, okay, on this 10,000. We've given $10,000 here on this. Based on our setup, it should calculate the tax. Just this is a testing we are doing. After this, we can perform the actual invoice creation. There also system will derive the tax. Just click on view tax lines. Now you can see system is calculating the tax rate is 15%. So on 10,000, 15% means $1,500. So then everything is working fine. Now we can go and enable tax applicability for the transactions at tax definition level. And we can create the invoice and the payables, and system will derive the tax for the transaction. Go to manage taxes. Tax name is ERP. You can search with ERP. Select, click on edit. Now you can enable the checkbox called as enable tax for transactions. So save and close. Click on done. Let's navigate to payables. Okay, just click on invoices. Go to task panel, say create invoice. Our BU name is ERP Cloud US Business Unit. Select. Supplier is ERP Cloud US Supplier. Provide invoice number. Since to the supplier level, site level, we don't have any default currencies selection. We'll just find no issues. That won't become any issue here. Fine, we'll proceed. Select invoice currency USD and invoice amount. Say $10,000. And then the line amount also 10,000. Okay, we may select distribution set. Now if you notice here, system will be defaulting the ship to location from supplier site. Now just click on validate. The system calculated tax. See here. 1500, it is adding the total as 11,500. This amount we have to update in the header level and save it. Once again submit for validation. So validated. Okay. So system calculated this amount based on the setup whatever we completed. Right here you can see. So ERP Cloud VAT at 15%, rate is 15, the amount, the complete detailed information you can see. This is the tax region, this is the tax name, this is the jurisdiction name. Okay, so you can create the accounting and transfer to GL. Done. So this is how we can calculate the tax with the basic configuration of R2R in FusionTax. Okay, done. Now see the fusion expense, EBS I expense, here we are calling as a fusion expense, and just we'll look at the setups. What setups we have to do. Now the current user we have as a ERP Cloud, and we'll take this user as a just employee, and we'll create one more user as a manager. We'll create the manager with the name called as ERP Cloud MGR. Okay, we'll do that. We'll go with this sequence of setups, then we'll go with the scenario. We'll see one by one. So here what we'll do is we'll set up system options for FusionTax FusionExpense, and we'll create the template. Then we'll create new user. Already we have user called as ERP Cloud, and we'll create user called as ERP Cloud MGR, and we have to create employee and supervisor relationship. We'll see how to set it up, and we'll provide the default expense account for the employee against which employee we are going to create expense report. Then we'll define the approvals, and we'll assign the roles to the user, and we'll provide the data access for the same roles for the specific business unit. Then we'll go and create the expense report from ERP Cloud user. Okay, that will goes to his supervisor, nothing but ERP Cloud MGR. Okay, after approving, we have to run the process expense reimbursement, which will convert that expense report into invoice by importing into payables. So the same we can find. Okay, expense report we are going to create and will approve it. Once expense report is approved, that you can import into payables as payment request. System will create against expense report invoice called as payment request. We'll see that. First we have to set up system options. Go to our implementation project, configure system options for expenses. Click on overview. Say system options. So manage expense system options. Click on go to task icon. Okay, so you can see all these defaults and controls. Enable payment method, yes. Allow reimbursement currency selection, yes or no for the user. You enable it, the user will be able to select reimbursement currency. All these options. Allow override approvers, enable prepaid cash expenses, travel, and all. You can see all this information. So very primarily, you have to select pay expense reports through payables, and these defaults, okay, at instance level. See here, for all business units, if you want to set specific preferences or these controls or defaults for RBU specific, you can just click on create. Just click on create. The same default system will be taking. So you're saying that you select your BU name here, ERP Cloud US Business Unit. So enable payment method. Use setup from all business unit, and the setup all business unit level. Enable payment method is yes. That means it will take yes. Otherwise, you can set to no, or you can select value directly here. So whatever we have over there, the same system would be defaulting. If you want to change, you can change. Okay, so that's how just we can set our BU specific system options also. So when you create expense report, if you want system to create expense report number with some prefix that you can provide here. So I'm giving as ERP. That means expense report number, it will take prefix as ERP, and it will generate the expense report, the number generation. So here you can specify all the preferences and defaults. And next we'll go and create the expense report template. Here, scroll little up. Here we have a task called as manage expense report templates. Click on go to task icon. Click on create. Click on create. Just provide the name, your cloud expense template, or say travel template. Okay, select our business unit name. Then click on add expense types. Here we can add the different expense items. Say airfare expense. Say categories airfare, and select account. Just select it, then say save and create another. So one we created expense item, we'll create another one as a food expense. Select category. So we have as a meals, you can select the same and provide relevant account. The same like how we do in ABS. Same just definition we are doing as a part of template. Yes, search for this relevant account. Account is meals. Select and say OK. Now say save and close. We created two expense items. So you can create how many we require, and you may set this as a default template. Say save and close. And we're done with that. Now what we'll do is we'll go and create the user. Okay, who will be acting as a manager for our current user. Create employee user. Manage users. So we can provide the name as ERP Cloud MGR. Gmail.com. So by default system is taking today data as a hire date. But we have some issue in this environment. So if you create manager after employee hire date, you cannot make that manager as that person as a manager to the employee which is created prior to this manager hire date. So that is the reason what we can do is always take this manager hire date prior to employee hire date. I'm just taking this as a 2017. So whatever the employee we are using as ERP cloud, that ERP cloud might be created 1 month or 2 months back. That's all. So make sure that manager hire date will be prior to employee hire date. But reality that is not required. So today we may hire the employee and we may make as a manager supervisor for some existing employees. That scenario should work, but in these environments, so if you create manager with a today date, you cannot select that person as a manager for existing employees. So for that reason, just always take the past date for manager definition for testing. So I'm taking the same name as a username. Select person type, say employee. Legal employer. Fine, done. Then say save and close. Okay, we created user will be acting as a manager. Now we'll go and set the password for this user, or else we'll do it later. Okay, done. We created. Now what we have to do is we have to create employee supervisor relationship between these two users. So we're done with that. Now what we have to do is go to this user, and for this user we'll be selecting this user as a or this employee as a manager. Okay, the username is ERP Cloud. go to this user or say employee or person. Go to actions. Okay, just click on manage users. For this employee, who is a supervisor? A supervisor you can select here. See, when this user is created, John 18 2018, the always that manager hire date should be prior to this date. Otherwise, here you don't find that definition in the this search. The name is ERP Cloud MGR. Fine, we select it. So save and close. And against this employee only, ERP Cloud employee will be creating expense reports. So if you are going to create expense reports against this employee, we have to set up expense account. Same I just mentioned here, provide default expense account for the employee. So select this employee, go to actions, say manage expense information. Here we have to provide expense account as well as address for expense reimbursement purpose. The address ERP, just write as expense address. Okay, so create address and set default expense account for this employee. Without this default expense account setup, you cannot create expense report against the employee. System will look for this default account. For no issues, you can select any one of the expense accounts. Say okay. Okay, select expense check send to address, remit to address as say office. Click on save and close. And optionally you can set expense account for manager also. Manager also may create expense report. But not mandatory. Now, for whatever the scenario you are going to test, for that you may ignore it. We'll set it up. It's a simple definition. Okay, set remit to address as a office, then say save and close. So this setup you can ignore it, but reason we are not going to create an expense report against the manager. So if you are going to create, it's a mandatory we have to set up. Done. So now we have to create the approval rule. Okay. So we have to navigate to BPM for that to say approvals for financials, approval groups. So you can just search for this task. With this task we can navigate to BPM. From there we can select the relevant task configuration. Go to task configuration. Okay. So select relevant task configuration. Okay, fine. Here is the workflow. Fin EXM, expense management workflow, expense approval. Select it. Just click on edit. Go to assignees. Here most of the nodes are enabled. I'm going to disable except one. Save and do commit. Just click on edit. Again, go to assignees. Now we just disabled all the nodes except one node. We'll proceed with this node, expense report. So select, then click on
Hey, Lakshman.
please.
Hey, Lakshman.
Yes.
When you make these changes to the work list, how do you migrate to the different production or something like that once you have everything tested?
So what this approval related configuration?
Yes, just approval, just the work list approval.
No. This configuration you cannot move. With this, you have to redo once again in the other environment.
Oh, there's no tool or there's no deploy to a different instance. You have to do the same manual steps in the
No.
production.
No. As a technical work, DBS can do that. They can clone it to other instance. But in terms of whatever we discussed as a configuration packages, okay, this setup you cannot move.
So just one workflow. If I want this one work list, I cannot do myself as a functional consultant.
Yeah, this workflow you cannot move. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So DBS, I'm hoping DBS have a capability in
Yeah, they
Fusion
can
just
do
to
that.
move one workflow,
Yeah.
one workflow.
Yeah, but it would be some customized request from to Oracle from us that we have to see
Okay,
whether they will be supporting or not.
okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, fine. So click on go to rule. Here you could see some predefined rule here. What we'll do is we'll just go on to deactivate it. Expand and click on this advanced options. It's already active. Deactivate it. Fine. We'll create our own rule now. Click on create. So we'll say ERP cloud. Expand it. We're going to define employee supervisory. So we'll go with the expression saying that approvals are mandatory. To set the expression as approvals are mandatory, you can just give if one is one. Okay, the expression should be one is one. One second. Why it is not responding properly? 1 second, please. Fine. Here you can enter directly, no issues. One is one. Then system will look for approvals as a mandatory. Yes, a constant. You also enter one. Okay. The expression we are giving one is one. Then we'll go with the add approver. Then the approver will go to supervisory approval. Select supervisory. So system select a list builder as a supervisory. Response type is required. Now see here we are discussing if ERP cloud is going to create expense report that should goes to his manager. Again, from that supervisor, if you want to submit to someone else, that means ERP cloud will create that goes to ERP cloud MGR one level. Again, whenever ERP Cloud MGR submits that, it should goes to another, say, senior manager. That means whatever ERP Cloud is creating, first it goes to this person, again from this person to other person. That means two levels. But if you have a requirement where every employee can just has to submit the expense reports to supervisor, supervisor will have a privilege just to approve it. So if that is the case, only one level, okay, one level only, employee to supervisor, supervisor can approve it. So depending on that, you have to set number of levels. Until unless all the levels, the approvals happen, that expense report cannot be approved. If I set 2, that means ERP Cloud will create, it goes to supervisor. Supervisor will approve it. Again, it should goes to another level also. Once manager submits for approval, it may goes to his manager. Once his manager approves, then only that document will get approved. So, but here we can set as 1. That means ERP Cloud will create, it goes to supervisor. Once supervisor is approved, it will be approved. And set starting participant. Click on search. By default here it's getting selected get manager. Yes, list builder is supervisory. And reference user. Okay, who is the reference user? Any user go and creates but expense report, that should goes to supervisor. So you don't need to write the username here. You can write task, okay, dot creator. Okay, in the task T capital, okay, full stop. Then what you can do is creator. In the creator, key should be, C should be small. So this is how you have to write exactly. Then say okay. Okay, task creator. Anyone create the, any task means here expense report. Whoever create the expense report, that should goes to supervisor. And say okay. Top participant. It's recommended to set so any one of the top participant in the entire hierarchy. So here we don't have many levels of approvals. The top participant would be supervisor only. In the double quotes you can write ERP Cloud MGR. But here the top participant, you have to just specify the reality. Whenever any employee go and create expense report, for that employee who is the supervisor is associated definition level, it will look at that supervisor, that will be routed to the supervisor for approval. This is just as a definition, it's a mandatory, you have to provide, okay, the top participant name within this, just a rule definition, that's all. Just specify that and say okay, done. This is how we have to set employee supervisory approval rule definition. Okay, so now what we have to do is just validate and verify the status here. Just click on restore panel. So no error or warnings. Now you can save it and deploy it. Nothing but click on commit and say okay. Then we define the approvals. Now what we have to do is we'll just assign the roles to user. Assign roles to user. Which user is going to create expense reports. To that user you can assign the required roles, which roles will give the access to expense related process. Go to security console, find our user, ERP Cloud, click on edit and say add role. Search for expense related roles. So one is expense audit manager. Okay, this audit manager and all not required for our current user. So normally use the manager. For the manager, you can assign this. So manager specific roles. Just to understand what roles we have for expense, we are just assigning these roles. So this we assigned. Can assign expense auditor. So you may assign expense manager role also to this user. So these are the primary roles we have which are related to expenses, Fusion expense. For this user, all these roles not required. Just to understand what roles we have, just assigning to this user. So done. Now we have to provide the data access for these three roles. We have to map our business unit with these three roles. So search for task called as data access for users. Go to role. Okay, the next role is expense manager. When say save and close and submit LDAP job. Okay, fine. Okay, it may take some time. Meantime, just think like the roles might synchronize even this job is not completed. So now what we'll do is we're done with all the setups. Now from this user we'll go and create the expense report and we'll submit for approval. Go to navigator and within the navigator you have a about me. In this section click on expense. Okay, just we have a task called as expenses. Just click on expenses. Okay, they just provided the simple video as a video for just introduction to expense work area. Okay, just maybe for 1 minute video they just given here. It is available in YouTube also.
Hello, my name is Barbara. In this tutorial, I'll show you how to use the expenses work area and create an expense report. Let's begin by navigating to the product tour page. This is the first page you'll come to if no expense transactions have been created. From here, you can play a training video or perform different actions, such as creating an expense.
Okay, you may play this when you are practicing. And just click on create expense report. Just click on create expense report. To the purpose, so travel. Just add expense items. Which expense items this employee incurred? Okay, those you can list out here. So we created only these two. Say airfare $500. And say save and close. The same you can add other items also. So I'm enabling this. I have read and accept corporate travel expense. This is not required. You can ignore it also. Done. So now if you click on saved, okay, here status is saved. If you click on saved, system will show us how the approvals are going to be routed. So we'll see how it is going to work in this environment. In the most of the environment, this expense report related approvals won't work. But for previous batch, yes, we could see that instance was supporting. Hope this also will support. There is an issue with this. Fine. No issues. We'll submit and we'll see. Expense report. See here it is taking expense report number which starts with ERP. We given as a prefix ERP, right? So this is the expense report which we created just now. Okay, so click on the status. Fine, now we will just log in as a ERP Cloud MGR. ERP Cloud MGR should get a notification once that is approved. Here it will be approved. This can be imported into payables. Just sign out, and one more point. Just we didn't set any password. We didn't reset password for that definition, right? Go to security console. So reset password for ERP Cloud MGR. Go to actions, say reset. Done. Sign out from this user. Log into the instance as a ERP Cloud MGR. There should be a notification from employee to this manager. Just we'll wait for some time. Just will open this 1 second and we'll check it. Error record will display in the tree. There won't be an issue even if it doesn't.
I think they have to select this checkbox. I have read accept.
No, not required.
Okay.
It's not triggering. Just 1 second. We'll create one more and just we'll see how it's going to respond.
Just one more. Can we check that report is process and waiting for approval, or is it where is status that?
Yeah, we can see that. I'll take it. I think I selected wrong one. It's showing as a pending manager approval. When you click on save the same, it has to show how it is going to be routed. It's not showing. No issues. Fine, we'll just go and see that. See this approval, expense approval in this, in the demo instances, in the most of the instances, this won't work. Okay. The last batch, yes, that was working. Prior to that, in many batches, we could not do it. So manage approval groups for financials. From here, you can see the notifications. See here, error in expense report approval. So there is some issue with that workflow only. Okay, otherwise just it will be triggering. Okay, dependent service is not available. Because the dependent service is not available, contact you. There is some technical issue. The most of the environments you see the same issue with the workflow. Okay, so if it is true, how it would work, I'll just take you through that. Just give me a second. Okay, you may. So here you can see that we just created this expense report for previous batch, and that environment is working. Let's see how it goes. So just you can look at this process. Write some other information also, expense location, and if you want to specify, you can specify, and just you can attach the receipt for this. Is missing, you can give the specifications. And let's say save and create another. And, meals expense. I'll say $10. Let's say 7 crores. Okay, just 2 items we added in this. Now just you may specify, just you can enable have read this, all this, travel policies, etc. And other point here is just the status is saved. I may just click on save again. Okay, this is saved. If you click on this status, it should display. If you submit this expense report, it would be routed to whom? So as per our setup, this should be routed to the supervisor. Supervisor's name is Cloud. Okay, EXM MGR. Just click on saved. So what is showing? This is routing to Cloud EXM MGR. Okay, Cloud EXM MGR. So that's what we set the approval, right? Is routing to this person. Now you can log into the system with that username and you can approve it. So before that you have to submit. Just to know, get to know, if you submit this expense report, it goes to whom, that's all. Now submit it. Okay, the expense report has been submitted for approval. Say OK. So what is the status? Pending manager approval. Okay, pending manager approval. Sign out. So as per our approvals, okay, rule which we define, it is routing. I think we didn't set any password for this employee. We'll go and set it up. So okay, for this employee, we didn't set any password, I think. This provide password. And one more point is here, So there is no guarantee that notification will come to this manager in our environments. Okay, let's see how it is working as of now with this. Okay, if it's coming, that would be really great. So wait, it's received by this manager. Most of the times it is not working. So you can see here, action required. Expense report approvals for so-and-so expense number, and it is coming from Cloud EMP. So this user can open this or else directly you can just click on approve. Just click on this notification. So most of the time it is not working. I think just now it's working luckily, that's all. The previous 3-4 batches also we could not see this. So 2 items. Okay. So this manager is going to say approve. Then it's approved. Now you can sign out from here. Cloud EMP, right? The same notification this user also will receive as a notification also this user will get as it's approved, implemented. See here, approved, expense report approval, so and so. Expense report is approved. Which expense report approved, this user can see detailed information here. So the status is task completed, approved. So really great, it is working now in this. Okay. Fine. So here you can search for your expense reports. I think only one we have, right? The same one you can see. So what is the status you see here? Ready for payment. It's approved by manager, it's ready for payment. Before that we have to import. We have to import it to receivables. If you want to create one more expense report directly from here you can try. Just directly click on create. That's how we create the same process. System will support. So okay, done. And one more point here is very important. So what are the what I can say this business unit we are using? So business unit level we have a address specification. If you don't provide the address, for the business unit, this expense reports cannot be imported into payables application. Just make sure that for our business we have a location code. Make sure that you have a location. Since mandatory, there may be cases where somebody may ignore to select. So, but for this process, it will validate, it will verify if location is selected for BU, for that BU related expense only, it will just import. Okay, just we created from ERP a cloud EMP user and it submitted to manager and manager approved. Now status also we could see approved. Now the status other point here it is showing ready for payment. For that, what we have to do is we have to run the process called as expense reimbursement and expense reimbursement process. Then you can find the invoice in AP. We'll just work on it. Go to schedule process, expense. So job name is process expense reimbursement and cash advances. What it will do, it create invoice for the payments to employee and corporate card issuers. Okay, for expense report. So for corporate cards or just expenses, system will create the invoice and the payables. Submit this.
And Lakshman, one question here. Can we schedule this process?
Yeah, you can
periodically?
Yeah, any job you can schedule it. The time of submission, instead of clicking on submit, there will be a tab called as advanced. Click on that, it will open schedule option.
Okay.
We'll see that also. Created equals to 1. That means it's got created. Now we can find it. The expense report number only it is taken as invoice number. So we given travel expense as a $5,110 as a meals. So supplier is Cloud EMP. Yes, this user only created expense report, and here you can see the same. Okay. So also it should address. But just you can click on that invoice number, expense report number. You can validate an account. So party name is Cloud EMP, means employee name. So fine, see this is how that expense report can be created and imported into payables application. But in the current environment which you are using, not only in this, in the most of the environments, this process won't work. In the most of the instances you see approval issue. Okay, luckily it was working in the previous instance, so that was the reason we could do it. Okay, see you can see here type also payment request. Just we complete all the setups, we created expense report, we submitted, and the system was not triggering the notification to the manager. If it is happening, we could see this process directly. Since there is no other option, I'm running this video which we did for previous batch, the November 6th 2017. Okay, just try the same process the other instance if you have access, otherwise just get to know how this can be done. At least you do the setups and try from your end. You may get that same error message, but it would be good practice for us. Okay, so that's all for today. We'll connect tomorrow and we'll just work on other concepts which are pending. Any questions from anyone, please?
Yes, Lakshman.
Yeah.
I think for payment, we make that payment single payment. Did we recover in the batch payment? That I don't remember that.
Yeah, we done that. See, in the
We done?
tables we complete all this.
Okay. And one more question. Do you have kind of any list that normally reports are required to run like a GL, AP, AR, FA, common reports that we used to run so that we can easily handy available?
Common reports. See, we have, yes, there will be in each module there will be major reports which will be running. So if you have
Yeah.
experience on EBS, the same report names you can find here. That's how it's running.
Oh, okay. Okay. And, I thought maybe this is okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Lakshman,
Yep.
if anybody can go on, they can go on to the docs.oracle.com and pick a module. There are list of reports they posted pretty good.
Okay. No. His question is commonly used because yes, even if you go to this here folders and all, you can see all those reports. Okay, not only in that Oracle documentation, even from here also you can find the list of reports module specific. The point is commonly used modules, commonly used reports. The primary reports it just is asking. So from here you can find the set of reports module specific. So fixed asset reports, here you can find all additions, asset balances, retirement related reports, all different you can find here.
Okay, thank you. And I think are you going to address our interview questions?
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that. Still, we have 2 sessions, the last and the session. Just we can do it.
Lakshman, Naveen here.
Even please.
Can we have any examples for customization of reports so that it will be a test cases for us to do
See,
get some custom reports?
see, that's very simple. Just they may need some additional columns. When you look into that report, okay, what information is fetching and which columns of data is not fetching, that could be their requirement, or else some comparison. Okay, when you look into that report, there itself you can understand. It's
No,
not
means
about adding so much. Sorry.
there will be some. You have some real business scenarios. So can you just share that?
See those basic just set of plan we don't have. Did you work on EBS? Any knowledge experience you have on EBS?
Yes, means you are saying the same
Same,
report. We
same,
have to do that over here.
same. Like see, whatever the reports you seen as a customized in the EBS, the similar. Like if client is going to use Fusion up,
Why I'm asking because the interviewer asked which report you customize and they ask about
you
detail
tell
in
what.
that report.
One second. You tell what are the reports you customized in EBS. That will work
Okay. Okay.
because everything same, right? Just environment is changed. That's all.
So most of time they confuse in OTBI and BI reports. Why you choose
That
a
is the
new
flexibility.
OTBI?
OTB anyway you cannot customize. Just you can drag and drop those. What I can say like subject areas, and we can do it.
Yes.
Just analysis.
Yes, I think in our sessions we didn't do that. Still, that is pending, right? Are you completed?
So, Lakshman, is it a good idea to tell them we did scratch from the reports using BI Publisher, which we can do it, right? So,
Yeah, BI just we can tell them, but being a function consultant, it's not mandatory. It should be done by us. We can tell them. Just we taken some requirement specifications that we passed to the BI developer, and they did it. That's what you can say. If you are already having some sort of experience on report development, yes, you can tell them. In that case, they'll be posting many questions. How the BI, how this parameter you can take, how you can take so and so parameter, how you can make this condition. That's how they'll be just
yeah.
connected to the question.
Lakshman, quick question. Today I joined a little late. Can you post this video, please? I'll pick it
I'll
up.
do it. I'll do it. Maybe after 1 hour, I'll be.
That's one thing. One other question, most very common issue, right, Lakshman, when we work client sites, right? If any business, if an employee works for different business units, can you put one expense report and combine it? Is that possible at all in Fusion?
No. You cannot do that. By default, that would be specific only. So just
So if somebody works on different
yeah,
business units and different projects, an employee.
that you have to manage with some workaround and all, but as a standard function. So we don't have any option now. Just we this user can have access to the business unit which is mapped at the employee definition time itself. Employee definition level, whatever we mapped, automatically system will be defaulting to that business unit related expense report definition. Okay, only in case of expense report only system will look for business unit which is associated at employee definition type. Manage users, there will select employee business unit, right? Only that business unit only, that expense report creation, it will be routing automatically.
I don't remember how the AP has similar concept, right, where you can create invoices in different BOs, but you can
See,
issue
one
one.
second, one second. You can create different means when you have access you can create. That is possible. Anything you can do it. When you have a multiple operating units access in EBS or this access multiple, you can do it. So so here just what you can do is system will be routing to whatever the business you need to assign to that only. Just it would be routing. It won't allow you to select different business unit in this process.
Yeah, we have to think something out of the box. A lot of clients in the past have this requirement.
Yeah.
Lakshman, auto intercompany setup we completed or it is pending?
No, we are going to work on that. AGS, Advanced Global Intercompany. That will do it.
Okay.
Yeah. Fine. We'll connect tomorrow and we'll just proceed with the remaining pending concepts so that we can complete as soon as possible. Okay.
Hey, Lakshman, can I call you right after this call? I tried to reach you other day. I think you were busy.